Hello everyone, this is Gayle, and this is my first polymer clay demo that I've done for Tupelo Designs since I've been on their design team. So far it's worked out really well. They're really great people to work with, and I've gotten to know a couple of the people. Not that I've ever met them, but we communicate by email and text, so it's been nice to get to know these people. One of the owners still has a greyhound, and of course I have greyhounds, so that gave us something in common. And so it's just been a real pleasure getting to know these people and their company. So I think what I'm going to do today is I think we're going to make a dragon's eye. Now these are two that I made previously, and I just kind of felt my way, but this is when I was learning. So I think I've kind of got an idea now on how to do this. So I'm going to attempt to make another one, and this time I'm going to use the Sculpting Accents Peacock Pearl, I'm sorry. Peacock blue was the color of the ink I used to use when I was in high school. Loved that ink. Everything I did had to be peacock blue. So it's kind of on my mind. But what you need to do is, this is like a half a block of the Primo Accents Peacock Pearl. And I just conditioned it and rolled it out to a number 3 setting on my pasta machine, mainly because when I condition my clay, I start out on number 1, and then as soon as it gets soft, I go down to number 3, and it just helps to condition it faster. So I just thought I'd leave it there because there's going to be several layers. But there's also other things that you need to consider. And that the main thing about a dragon's eye is, of course, the eye. So I have got some marbles, and they're all various shapes and sizes. I have these that are the larger ones, the round ones. I've got these that are round but a little bit smaller, and then I've also got these oblong ones. And I've had these in my stash forever. And I have learned, if you look at these glass, let me see if I can come in. But see all these marks in the center of the glass or some of them aren't even in the center, but it's where the glass was blown. And like this one has, I don't know if you can see it or not, between the glare of the light. But anyway, there's a thing coming in from the outside on this one, a little, looks like a feather type thing that comes in from this side, so I don't think I'll use that one. This one has some interesting marks in the center, which could be kind of neat to have something like that in the center. So I don't think I'll use that one. I'm going to hold my opinion on the oblong ones. I'm not sure yet. But the size of the eyeball kind of determines the size that you're going to make it. Now these that I made into pendants. I've got little loops here on the end where you can string it. See, where you can string it on a chain or on a, this one is small, so you'll need a jump ring to put it on a cable. This one is a little bit bigger, and it's one of these screw-in eyes. Where did it go? It's one of the screw-in eyes. There. That a black Bunicord or something like that could fit through, or a chain or whatever. Or you might want to put a jump ring in there also. But I made these as pendants. But this one I think I'm going to make to put on a box. And let me see if I still have my box. No, it's one of the things I put away because I'm trying to get rid of some of the clutter in my art room. So I think what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to use the big one. I I keep looking at these others, and I thought this would be fun to try, the oblong ones, but I think I would rather do something I'm a little more familiar with. So I'm going to show you what to do with this on the back side. First thing you need to do is to put some kind of a shape for its eye, the iris of the eye. And you need to like determine where the top's going to be. I think this here will be my top. So I think for this one, and you can make these in all different shapes, but I've kind of liked the ones that I've seen that are triangle shaped. So I'm going to start by just putting a line, and then I'm going to take it out wider at the top. And I'm going to bring it down a little bit into this rough area. And this needs to dry. And I'm just using a Sharpie. So it won't take but a minute for that to dry. I do have a Sharpie ink pen. It's a Sharpie paint is what it is. And let me see if that makes a little bit darker line in there. I've had this for a while and I just never use it. Let's see if it might make it a little bit darker. I don't know if it's darker or if it's just because it's wet. But that looks darker to me anyway. People could probably shop in my stash. Anyway, give this a minute to dry. And while that's drying, I'm going to back it. Now this, if you remember, I did a tutorial on a Christmas tree that I mixed some yellow, I think it was sunshine yellow, the Primo sunshine yellow with some of the Primo yellow gold glitter. And this is just a little piece of that that's left over. Anybody that knows me knows that I love to use scraps. And I'm going to roll this really thin. I'm going to start on a number 5. And I think I'm even going to go to a 7. Let's see, which way do I need this to go? And I'm going to get a circle cutter. See which one is going to be the best size. I think I'll just use this. This is a Kemper cutter. And I believe it's 1 inch. But I'm just going to cut a circle. Make sure, yeah, this is a 1 inch cutter. Any circle cutter you have will work. I just happen to have a bunch. And I think this is probably dry now. And what I'm going to do, well, first off, I think I'm going to add a few little dots. I'm going to just add a couple little dots. They don't have to be big. But my dragon is going to have dots in his eyes. There. Give that a minute to dry now that I've done that. But in the meantime, we can start thinking about the shape that you want your eye. So one thing you can do is you can take an index card and just take a pencil or pen, whatever you happen to have, and draw the shape that you'd like to have. Now I kind of like, let me lay this here just so I'll know how big to make it. I like to start on the inside and just sketch, and I like it, I like a point on the outside. And with this point, when you're making it, you can turn it a little. Like if you look on this one, I've turned it, you know, just tilted it up a little. You can maneuver the clay. So I think I'm going to do that. And I don't know if this is dry or not, and I'm afraid to touch it. It's dry. But that's going to be the basic shape of my eye. And I'm going to cut this out just so I can kind of use it as a template. I apologize, I keep bringing things closer to me when I'm working on them, and I know it takes it out of your camera view. And I've covered up my trash can, trying to get things cleared away. But while I'm going to go ahead and cut this out, I'm going to lay this on my clay, and I'm going to take a cutter. It can be your tissue blade, it can be a craft knife, whatever you have. You just cut around your template. And try not to disturb this place that you're cutting it out from, because it's going to come in handy in a little while. So there's my template, and let me just pull this out. Since I'm working on paper, excuse me, instead of my tile surface, everything is not sticking, so I have to do things a different way. Now, I said this was dry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this yellow circle, and it can be any color. You can use gold, you can use green, you can use whatever. But I just thought, since I had this yellow here, and just lay it on the back of this marble, and just stretch it a little bit to make sure it covers the back. So when you look through your marble, it's got that yellow look. Now, I know this is upside down for you, but with this I can't work upside down, so hopefully you will forgive me. But that's going to be the eyeball. Now you're thinking that looks awfully big. Well, it is. So but we're going to add layers. So what I'd like to do now is to put maybe an inner lid and a lower lid, and that's where this comes in handy. You can use this to kind of cut your shape. Let me go back out so you can see what I'm doing. You can use this piece here to kind of cut your shape, and just go up a little from where you were before. But it helps you to cut the same shape. Of course, you can always maneuver it. But anyway, take that, and wherever you want to put it, just have it go to the corners. I really needed that a little bit wider. I'm going to save this for another lid, maybe the bottom lid. Let me make one. I'll just cut the bottom. I need it a little bit wider at the top. Because I want it to come down and meet the clay here, and yet I want it to cover up part of the eyelid, the eyeball. And I think that'll be fine, and I think I'll use this on the lower lid since I don't have to go quite so far. Of course, this is going to get covered up too, so you don't have to worry too much about the size and whether it matches up and everything, because we're going to make it work. Okay, so no, this is going to be the inner lid. Now you notice we've got these little triangle areas here that are not covered. This in here. See, this part in here is not double layered. This is double, but this is not. This is still just the base layer. And you want to put something in there, because if you look at an eye, you've got like tear ducts and whatever. And I thought what I would do, since I also have some of this gold glitter, yellow gold glitter left here. I told you, I keep scraps on my table that I think I'll use. I'm going to take this and I'm going to make a little triangle out of it and put it in there. And just kind of press it in. Use one of my little tools. Kind of make it fit in there. But that kind of gives the effect of the tear duct area. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. And this will just add a little interest, because now we're going to add another layer of lid. Because if you ever have seen a dragon, and I know you have, dragons have different layers of eyelids. That might be a little bit too big. So put that in there and just press it down. And just make sure it's triangle shape, because that's the shape you want to maintain for your tear duct. Now this is a good time to texture your inner lid. Now you can do this several ways. There's so many different tools that you can texture with. But for this one, I think I would just like to texture with my craft knife. And I'm just going to barely touch it. Just put some little lines across there. And little lines across here. Probably ought to put this on an index card so I can lift it up for you. But see the little lines I put in now that's the inner lid. And it's just to add a little bit of texture to it. So now we're going to cut an outer lid. And I might even do 2 layers. I really like the layering that you get on these dragon's eyes. I've kind of got this out of shape, but that's alright. I can still use it. But just make sure it's going to be long enough to do what you want it to do. And what I want is to come down and meet the inner lid and the tear duct. I missed it over here. And the tear duct. Because you really don't want all of that tear duct to show. And do the same thing at the bottom. Let's take one off right here. This one doesn't have much of a curve here, so let me just cut away a little bit. And put that one along the bottom. And bring it up over your tear duct area. Now This is the second lid. I'm sorry, my cell phone is sitting here and I didn't turn the sound down. Let me do that. I'm battling lawnmower problems right now, and my son is looking for something for me, so he might be sending me a text. Now you see, this is kind of rough looking right now. It's, you know, like all these different layers and they don't meet up. But we're going to fix that in the last step. But here, I think I would like to put some texture in this. And this is just an old ballpoint pen that I have. I've taken the refill out, and I use this little end as a texture tool. So I'm going to use that on this lid. Just press it in, and if you overlap them, they even look like dragon scales. But since this isn't the outside yet, I'm not going to worry about it. I'll do that on the last one. Just go down far enough so when you put your next layer on it, it'll cover any exposed area. Need to come all the way up to the edge, which I didn't do, but there, that ought to do it. Now I'm running out of clay that's big enough, but let me see what I can do. If not, I'll just run it through the pasta machine again. Or maybe, let me do that anyway. Excuse me for a minute while I run this through the pasta machine. Okay, I just made another flat sheet. I just took what I had and just ran it through again. Now this is another place where your template will come in handy. Because you're going to want a piece that's going to come all the way to the edge of your template. So it'll come all the way down here to the edge. So I'm going to cut just outside, because I can always trim. But let me cut just outside of my template on the bottom. I may as well do the top while I'm at it. And just cut just maybe 1/8 of an inch bigger than your template, just to give you enough clay to work with. And you can pull your template out. And now you know that this bottom curve is going to be about the same shape as your eye over here. So then you determine how big you want this one, how wide. And I'm going to start here, and if it's too wide, I can always trim it off. But I think it's going to work pretty good. Now this one you take all the way to your corner, because this is going to be your last layer. So this one you just want to be a little bit more careful about where you place it. Press it into place. Because this one is going to come all the way down and give you a good finish. And then I'll do the same thing here. This is the top lid, and I might make this a little thicker just because I think the top lid is a little bit wider than the bottom, and it is, and this is going to work just great. So I'm going to bring this all the way to the end, and bring this all the way to the end. And there's a few little places where it doesn't meet, but just coax your clay and use whatever tool you have to smooth your seams, because you don't really want a seam there. It doesn't have to be perfectly smooth because we are going to texture it. But this is a good time to get the shape and everything that you want. Let me do the top. If they don't meet, just if it left a seam, just make sure you do that. Smooth those out. So I've got to think. This is the middle. This is the part that goes towards the middle, and this is going to be the outside. So I'm going to start pulling on that and making it a little bit narrower, because I do want to put a little curl right there. So this is where your texture tool works really well. Now if you have texture sheets or something that you use, go ahead and use those. Use what you have. But I'm going to start with these little round circles, and I'm going to make a row, and then I'm going to go kind of below it. I know you can't see at this angle. Let me do a line and I'll show you what I've done. You see right there, kind of looks like dragon scales. And it can be done quickly. You don't have to, you can take your time if you want. I am a very impatient person. I can start off taking my time, and by the time I finish, I'm just kind of putting them wherever. And I have found that the wherevers usually turn out better. So let me finish this. And I want to do this on both lids. And be sure you get up here at the edge where the two pieces of clay, the two layers come together, and it kind of blends in, so it makes the seam disappear. Alright, so there's my bottom. And this is going to be the top. While I'm doing this, I'll just chat a little bit. I told you I've been talking with some of the people from Tupelo, and I've gotten to really like them a lot. But Tupelo always offers free shipping. If you're in the continental United States, shipping is free, always. And they ship very fast. They usually ship the same day. Or if you enter your order late at night or in the evening, it might not ship till the next day. But it ships very fast. And they use FedEx, so it usually comes overnight. And if you're international, they offer discounted rates. So international isn't free, but it is discounted. So that might make a big difference when you're placing an order, knowing that your order will get shipped at a discounted rate if you live internationally. They also run specials. They have specials going all the time. And you also earn bonus points or perks. I think it's just called bonus points. They, when you sign up, you get 500 points for just establishing an account with them. And that's $5 off, and you can use it on your first order. So then every order after that, for every dollar you spend, you get 2 points. And you can redeem your points as you place your orders. And it just really can help when you get a reduced price plus free shipping. It makes a big difference. So okay, there's my base for my dragon's eye. Now I think I want to add a few little added things. I really don't think I like this upper lid the way it is, so I think I'm going to make another lid and just put it over the one I've got. You don't even have to take it off. Actually, I found with the dragons, the more layers, the better it looks. So I'm just going to take a piece of the peacock pearl and I'm going to roll it into a snake. I just love polymer clay. It's so forgiving, and have you ever heard the saying, there are no mistakes in polymer clay? You've heard the saying, there's no crying in baseball. Well, there's no mistakes in polymer clay. There's only opportunities. So what I'm going to do is take this, since it kind of is a natural break there because of the length, the width of the snake. I think I'm going to take that and I'm going to just come right inside here and cover up just a little bit more of that eyeball. I think there's just a little bit too much eyeball showing. And what did I do with my craft knife? And just cut it off where you want it cut off. I think I'm going to cut mine off right there. And I'll cut this one off. Sorry if my hand blocked your vision. But I think I'm going to like that better. And I may even add a skinny one on the bottom. Let me make this a little skinnier. And let this come up and meet that one. Sorry, you couldn't see what I was doing. And just let it meet and trim off the end. Don't know what that is. It's a little tiny piece of green. But I think now I'm going to make the little lines that I had in the other lid in this one. Just, you can use anything. This is just another one of my tools. And I've had these forever, so please don't ask me where I got them because I've had them for so long. Because I've got round texture on the rest of this, so I feel like I need some straight texture. Let me just push that down a little bit to meet that lid and dab it with my pen to get some texture back in it. Okay, so there we are there. Now I'm going to put some little horns on this one, I think. What I'm going to do is roll little balls with what's left over. They can be all different sizes. And just put them on your work surface so you can line them up by size. This one's going to be smaller. It's not even a ball, is it? And I'll put 3 or 4 across the top. And I might even put one on the bottom. But he's going to have a few little, I don't know if they're horns or what they are, but they're just little growths that he's going to have on his, around his eye. So I'm going to take the largest one first, and since this is the outside, I'm going to make that there, and I'm going to use a ball tool to just make an indentation. And you might have to make it a little bigger. see where my bigger ball tool is. It's probably over on my cart, on my paper desk. And just kind of place them wherever. Punch your hole and just make sure the hole's going to be big enough for you to put a little piece of clay in. And I let them get smaller as I go along. And this one is going to be a baby one, so maybe there won't be a horn coming out of that one, or maybe it'll just be a little nub. And then I'll put one down here. Now before I put the horns in it, because I'm going to do some other things, those are going to be for my horns, but I'm going to take some smaller balls of clay and just place them randomly around, like maybe a wart or whatever it would be. And I'm going to be placing gems in those, some little rhinestone gems. So depends on how many gems you want is the number of balls you'll make. And you don't have to make them all at one time. You can make, you know, some and then just make them as you go. So now I'm going to take these and just going to place them like right there. And I'll place one over here. I think I'll stick one out here on the edge. Just wherever you feel like you want to put something shiny. If you notice on this one doesn't have the horns, but I put these little balls all the way across the top instead of the horns. On this one, I put some horns across the top and one on the bottom, and then the rest of them I put, like that one just has a little nub. That's a horn that's starting to grow. Some of them I didn't do anything with. So it's just wherever you think you'd like to have something. And another thing, this all looks very monotone right now because everything is blue. But after it's baked, we will be doing some other things to the clay to give it some color and some texture. Now you can I just lost my train of thought. You can use different colors of clay for the little horns, but I think just for my purposes, actually why don't I use this gold since it's in the eyeball, in the tear duct. I think I'll put some of the gold, the yellow gold glitter clay in there. Why not have gold horns, right? So just roll a little teardrop, and however long you want your horn, and then put it in the hole that you formed in your for the horns. I think that's going to look cute, and it brings the gold into it also. So just stick them in there, make sure they stick to the clay, and just tilt them a little bit. I like mine to kind of tilt out. Let's see, these two are going to be too small, so I'll put the two together and make another little horn. And if it's the right size that you want, just mash the bottom on the table on your work surface. And this one going to tilt a little bit. You make that point a little pointier. There. Don't like that one too much there. I think I'm going to start over with that one. I just don't like the way that one's shaped. So let me just make a teardrop, cut off the end, and then put it in there and make sure it sticks. Yeah, that's a much better shape. So I'll just ball that other piece back up again and make another teardrop. And cut the end off or flatten it on your desktop, whichever you want to do. Now put that one in there. And that's going to be a little baby horn. And one of these over here, I think I'm just going to put a little gold nub in. Let me put a little hole here. And I'm going to put just a little nub so it's like the beginning of a horn. There. Kind of gives the idea that there's a little horn growing there. And I've still got one down here. So I put these three together. I've got more of the gold glitter clay, but I've already got this here, so why not use it? And just flatten the end and stick it in here, and this one will be curving back that way. There. And I think that's cute. I still have a hard time getting a point on this one. There. Now, we're going to be putting some, or I'm going to be putting some rhinestones. These are some hot fix stones I've had in my stash forever. Oh, before we get to that, the next thing I want to do is to make some real skinny little ropes. And you ask why I'm doing all of this when it's all the same color. But when I start highlighting it after it's baked, you're going to see the biggest difference. You can add colors on it. I'm going to put perfect pearls on it. And it's going to really turn out neat. But this little skinny snake, what I'm going to do, I'm going to curl this end, because it's a skinny little end, and make a little see if it'll stick. Actually, I think it's better just to do it this way. I'm just going to take the point and put it on here and let it stick to the clay, and I'm going to just kind of weave it around. Can you see what I'm doing? Just weave it around some of these little things that I've added. Again, I'm just adding texture. There. See that little snake I added? It has a little, it had a little curl on the end. I think it stuck to my finger and came off. So there's a little curl on the end. So there's one there, and I think I'll put one around the top. Because I don't have as much there on the top to decorate, but I don't want too much on the top because of the horns. You know, it's funny, I never liked dragons or dragon's eyes or anything else until I started watching YouTube, and so many people make them, and I just got fascinated by them. And I just think they're adorable, and you can use them for so many things. So I think with this one, I'm going to make a little curl at the end. Just a little spiral. And put it, just let it stick to your clay. And again, just let it weave around the horns. Let it come around over here. You see there's the little rope going around, and you just need to make sure it sticks. Now I'm going to add some little gems. Because what's a dragon without... Oh, that's not what I was looking for. I've already pulled it out. And where did I put them? Oh, here they are. Right under my nose. Now these are all of my crystals. And I don't think I want to put blue on there. I might put a couple of blue ones on there. But maybe I'll use aqua instead of the blue. These are some small ones and some yellow ones. And what else would look good on there? I just have way too many stones, gems. And then in here I have little bitty ones. Actually, I need to shake these up a little bit. I never empty all of them, and I have a tendency to just pick from the top, and then I end up with just certain colors left on top. But I'm going to dump a few of them into a bowl and just pick from those. Now, a lot of people buy expensive tools to pick up their gems, but me, I use polymer clay. So let me just, well, I need to open these for one, get a few out here that I can reach. Alright, I think I'll pick some yellow ones since I'm using the gold. And I'll put one, maybe put one in this little loop from that I put on here. And you can use the same ballpoint pen to press your gem in. Now these are hot fix crystals, so they will stay in once they're baked. The clay is baked in the oven. The glue on the back of these will automatically stick, and you don't have to worry about them falling out. Let me see where else I would put a yellow one. How about right there on that one? Or on this one. Let's put it there. I dropped it, so I'll just pick it up. And again, I'm going to use my pen to push it into that, and it's going to make a little, like a little donut hole around the gem. Can you see what it did? Now let's use a different color. Let's use, how about an orange? That goes with blue and green. I'll put that on this one and press it in with my pen. I need a bigger color here. I might do a blue one. It's kind of a green color. These are my bigger gems. But something about this guy just kind of calls for a big gem. So I'm going to put that there. Alright, I think I'll put a small light blue. Well, I think I missed the light blue. Let me see what this is. That's one of those, it's not really clear, it's more of a silvery color, but that's alright, that'll work. And go back for the light blue. Missed it again. I'm just at a bad angle. I'll put the light blue on this place here. And you can add as many as you want. If you want a lot, you can add a lot. Just, you know, find a place to put them. I need some on this end. There's a pretty green. I think I'll put a pretty green one right there. And I think I'll just put one or two more, and then I'm not going to glitz him up too much. Or actually, that... I'm thinking maybe that's enough. Maybe I'll put a little one in this little curve of this thing that I messed up here. And what color do I not have over here? I'm not sure what color this is. It's kind of a pinky, tawny color. But that looks pretty good. Now you may see other places that you'd like to put a gem that I didn't do. And like I said, they're yours. You can decorate them any way you like. And I hope you will try to make one. Because they're a lot of fun. Let me just put this away before I dump them all over my work table. And these I'll put away later. They're safe in the bowl. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bake this according to manufacturer's instructions, and I will be back after it's baked. Thanks. Hi, I'm back, and I don't know if you caught my mistake or not, but I put my eye in the oven and had to leave to go run an errand, and while I was out, all of a sudden it hit me that if I was going to put perfect pearls on this, I didn't need to bake it. So I've got one baked that I will add things to later. But I also have one that's unbaked because I made another one. This eye might be a little bit different and the little horns may be a little bit different because it's hard to make them identical. But this is pretty close to being the same type of project. So I apologize for that. I was just trying to, I was in a hurry, I guess, and not thinking. So right now I'm going to add some things to it. I'm going to add some perfect pearls. And this one is blue patina. And I don't know if it's going to be too blue to show up or not. So I thought I would just put that along the eyelids. Oh, that's going to be pretty. But I just put it on my finger. Tap a little in the cap. Let me show you what I'm doing. Tap in the jar. Tap in the cap. It's because you don't want too much on your hands. And then just run it along where you want it. So I might add a little bit in different places. I don't want it all to be blue, but I'll just highlight certain places with it. But that added just a little bit of shine. Can you see the shine it added to the eyelids? See how pretty? But I'm going to add some other colors. I'm not sure exactly what colors I want to add. I thought about some red. And I almost made another big mistake. I almost opened this upside down. That would not have been fun. Now the red is pretty strong. I'm going to pick this card up so I can get to it. And I'm just going to do the same thing, and I'm just going to find some places to touch and see how it... See, this is a much stronger color than the blue. See how that's coloring? But as long as you don't put it all over and just highlight it in certain places, I think it'll look pretty. Oops, I got it on the horn. I guess it doesn't really matter. But I'm not going to put a whole lot of red on it, just because it is such a strong color. And I thought about putting some green. Let me wipe my finger off, since red and green make mud. I don't know if you knew that. If you look at a color wheel, red is on the opposite side of the color wheel from green. Now that can mean, it means a couple of different things. One, it means that they go very well together, because being on the opposite side of the color wheel, they go well. That's why red and green are big Christmas colors. But if you try to mix them, you'll end up with mud. Anything that's directly across on the color wheel that you try to mix will turn to mud. And I've got a little color wheel somewhere. I haven't had to look at it for a while, so I'm not exactly sure where it is. I know it's somewhere up here on this shelf. It's just finding it. So I won't take time to look for it right now. But anyway, that was just a interesting thing about color. If you wonder what colors will make mud, it's the ones that are opposite each other on the color wheel. Now, this is a book that I put together. I've shown this on one other video. I have lots of perfect pearls and other mica powders and things, and because they look different on black and white, what I did is I cut squares, and then I cut them in half diagonally of black and white clay. And then I colored each one with whatever color. Now, like this is the Kiwi Perfect Pearls. And look how green it looks on the black, but it's kind of a yellow color on the white. And there's something else. There was another one that looked like this is Forever Green. Of course, that is on the black and that's on the white. There's some big differences. So whenever I'm looking at my palette to see what I want to use, I think I'm going to use the mint, which is this one. Put a little green on there. Since I've got the red and it's blue, I'll put some green. But mint is a light color. Let me zoom back in a little bit. And I'm going to put that over the little horns because I don't like the red that was on there. And I'm just going to touch here and there. That's pretty. Let's see, I think this came loose. Yeah, it did. I don't like that big glob of red, so I'm just going to go over it with the green. But you can see how the Perfect Pearls really brighten up. And in a way, I'm kind of glad I have this one. This would have been one without the Perfect Pearls, and the other one with the Perfect Pearls. And look at the difference. Look how nice this one looks. So now I am going to bake it, and I will come back. Well, let me add a little bit more green right here. There. And you can dab with this all day. You know, you can always add. But I'm going to make myself stop. And that is going to be the end of this. But I'm going to bake it. And then I'll come back just briefly just to show it to you what it looks like baked. I'm going to wipe my eye off because it looks like I got some powders on the eye. So I will be back one more time just for a short follow-up so you can see what this looks like baked. While my other eye is baking, I thought I would come back and show you what I'm going to do with this one. I mixed some of the Perfect Pearls with some Sculpting glaze. And I'm just using that to highlight this one that's already baked. And it gives a pretty good effect. It's a little bit different. But that's some blue, and I'm going to add some green, since those were the colors that I did before. And let me just pour a little bit of glaze into this cup. I didn't do it the last time I mixed it on this card. Just some glaze. And some of the green powder with my little scoopy tool. And just mix it up. Kind of looks blue, but it is green. Yep, it's the green. But let me just brush a little bit of this on the green, and I'll make sure I highlight this. It's not going to show as well as the Perfect Pearls that you put on in powder form, but at least the glaze will help it to stick. Just use an old brush, an old scruffy brush. And some of you might like the look of this better than the other. But I just thought there is a way to save this. It all was not lost. And I just wanted to show you that, see, this did add some character to this one. So it's not just plain old blue. I hesitate to put the red on. I'm afraid with the red being such a strong color and with it being wet, it would be even more. But I'm going to let this dry, and when the other one comes out of the oven, I will show you the two together. Thanks. Hello, I'm back, and my eyes are out of the oven. This is the one that I had put some red on. Let me turn it around for you so you can see it. And you can see the red in certain places, you know, but that's good. I kind of like that. You've got the gold and the red. And there's also some little bit of green and blue. And then this is the one that I ended up putting the perfect pearls into some Sculpey glaze, and you can see that that gave it a really nice color also. So I really like that. And I thought, just to spice things up a little bit, you know, I'm always adding something to my clay. I thought I would try these Nouveau crystal drops. I understand that you know, that you can make enamel dots with these, and I got to thinking, if you can make enamel dots, why not see if we can make little dots on our eye? So I'm going to try to find a flat place. And these are dimensional, so they'll sit up a little bit. And just add a couple of these dots. And it takes, they need to set for like 24 hours before they're done. But I think it would add a lot of dimension. And maybe it'll just look like little silver warts. But this is also available from Tupelo Designs LLC. And it's Nouveau crystal drops. And I've only put a couple on here because I feel like they need to be on a fairly flat place, and there's not many flat places on here. I could put one in this little hole here. And I'm going to let that sit. But just as a little added bonus to this video, if you ever ship things with UPS, the U.S. Postal Service, and you use these shipping labels that are like, it prints the label at the top and then has a little receipt at the bottom. I've been saving these papers that it comes on because it's got the part that it was stuck onto is shiny. So I'm thinking I'm just going to try making some enamel dots. And I'll make different sizes, and I thought they would do well on this paper so they wouldn't stick. I thought about doing them on index cards, but I was afraid they would stick to the card. It wouldn't come off easily, but they should come off of this. So I'm just putting dots down. And these, you know, it's sort of a, I don't want to say self-leveling because it doesn't level, but these are so far standing up pretty well. And this is the silver. Let's see what it's called. It's called Silver Lining. But if you like enamel dots, this is a really inexpensive way to make your own, and you can make whatever size you want. Like maybe I'll just go to a little bit smaller. Sometimes you just want a little one. And I'm just going to see how small I can make these. Looks like I can make them pretty small. But this is a little product review along with my Tupelo Designs LLC design team video. So I'd love to see some of your designs. If you make your own dragon's eye, I'd love to see them. You can post them on my Facebook page. And as usual, I've just been looking at the Tupelo Designs LLC website myself, and they have got some gorgeous new things that I'm really excited about. So take a look. And you know, if you're like me, there's something there. I've got too many things that I would like to have, but they're a great company. I appreciate you watching my videos, and I'll be seeing you soon. Bye.